No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of AEW Dynamite, the final one of 2023. Shout out to everybody watching this, whether it's live or on demand. I very much appreciate your viewership and support. We are in the closing days leading up to World's End, which is this Saturday. NoDQ.com will have live coverage of World's End. Check it out. Lots of news on the website right now as we transition into the new year. I hope everyone's having a happy and safe holiday period. Let's get to this recap. We opened up the show with a triple threat match, the final of the Continental Classic Gold League. Jon Moxley versus Swerve Strickland versus Jay White. Now, they were brawling on the outside of the ring right off the bat. Since this was the final match and it was a triple threat, no DQ, anything goes, no count out. You could use weapons. And that's what Jay White did. He grabbed a steel chair. He was using the chair on Jon Moxley, targeting the bad knee of Moxley from last week's show. But as the match went on, Moxley was able to get back into the thick of it. Then White brought the chair back into the ring, continued using it. Swerve was able to reverse White, and White got sent into the corner where the steel chair was placed. White was out of commission for a while, and then Swerve went up top for the Swerve stomp, but White shoved him off the top rope. White tried to finish off Moxley, but Moxley countered and picked up the win with the Death Rider. This was a good match, good triple threat match here. Now, of course, the decision to go with Jon Moxley, who you could argue of the three was the one that needed the win the least. I've been saying this for weeks that Swerve Strickland should win. I've been saying this about AEW in general for a long time. You have to strike while the iron is hot. Swerve Strickland beat Hangman Adam Page not once, but twice. And then he loses the Continental Classic. Now, you could say in his defense, well, they got bigger things for Swerve Strickland. They teased a match with MJF. Instead of him holding this Triple Crown championship, whatever it's going to be, you want him to go for the big title, the AEW World title. So I get that, but I think Swerve should have won this personally. They're setting up Swerve versus Keith Lee, which I get it. You want to wrap up that storyline, but it really just feels like a match designed to give Swerve something to do at World's End. And after the match, Swerve was interviewed and basically accepted Keith Lee's match for World's End this Saturday, and I suspect Swerve Strickland will win, and this will be the end of the feud. Now, another option would have been Jay White. Jay White coming off the Full Gear loss. This could have been a nice win for him to get him moving back in the right direction, but the choice was made. He had the injury. That could have been his out. But Moxley wins, and it definitely has gotten a mixed reaction on social media. And even Matthew, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's no DQ, but Tony Khan said no outside interference, but it's no DQ. I mean, yeah. I mean, I can't really explain it. It's no DQ except you can't interfere. Tony Khan's going to fire you or something. I don't know. Anyways, we had Renee Paquette interviewing Mariah May on the stage. And she revealed that her debut is going to take place on next week's Dynamite, the first Dynamite of 2024. Now, last week, Mariah May had attacked Riho. Riho came out there to try and get some revenge. AEW Women's Champion Toni Storm ran down, and we had a little bit of a brawl, but Riho got the upper hand and then came off the top with a dive onto both Toni Storm and Luther to set up the match for Saturday. Riho gets the title match, and we'll talk about that soon. We got predictions for AEW World's End coming in this coming Friday night in the SmackDown time slot, 8 p.m. Eastern. SmackDown is going to be a clip show, a best of show, and it will probably be one of the lowest rated SmackDowns ever. Certainly the lowest rated Fox SmackDown. If the Raw viewership is any indication, they did a taped Raw, basically a clip show, best of 2023, and it was the lowest rated Raw episode of all time, least viewership ever. But that's to be expected. I mean, I think SmackDown will do better being on Friday night, but still, it's a clip show. You can watch us live Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, to discuss AEW World's End. We had a video package with Andrade and Meo. They are going to have a match this Saturday. Battle of the former WWE guys. And, you know, there's the whole thing with CJ Perry, formerly Lana. I do not really care about this match. So it's on the card, basically just to get these guys a spot on the pay-per-view. We had Tony Schiavone in the ring, and they were having a celebration of Boxing Week. Boxing Day is a holiday in Canada, and that led to the Don Callis family coming to the ring. So Don Callis made a bunch of paintings with the various Don Callis family members, but there was one that he did not reveal. And as it turns out, we had the return of Sami Guvar, who's been out with a concussion, and then his wife, Ty Mello, gave birth. So he's been dealing with other stuff, but he's back. And Callis revealed the fourth painting, which was the entire Callis family plus Sami holding his newborn baby. But Sami did not appreciate this. He did not like his baby being added to the painting. He called out Don Callis on this, and then things got heated between these two guys. And Sami ended up saying that Don Callis never contacted him when he was hurt, when he was concussed. And then Don Callis said that he was disappointed in Sami Guevara for getting the concussion, dropping the ball, and then going on maternity leave. And then said he's going to give Sami an opportunity to stay with them, but make the right decision, because if Sami makes the wrong decision, he'll be as big of a failure as a wrestler than he'll be as a father. And of course, Sami Guevara was pissed about that. He shoved Don Callis, and then the Don Callis family attacked him. That's when we had Chris Jericho making the save. Chris Jericho destroyed all the paintings with the baseball bat except for the one with Guevara in it. He gave the bat to Guevara. Guevara destroyed that painting, and then they were teasing a handshake, but then Guevara came in and gave him the hug, which means Sami Guevara and Chris Jericho have reunited. That Sami Guevara heel turn on Jericho, well, did not last very long. I mean, when you think about it, it only technically lasted a couple of weeks because Guevara got concussed, gone for several months, comes back, and makes up with Jericho. But hey, with Kenny Omega being out of action, I guess they needed to change things up a little bit. Now then, the segment wasn't over. We had Big Bill and Ricky Starks, the tag team champions, attacking Jericho and Guvar. And then we had Sting and Darby Allin making the save. First time I think we've seen Darby Allin since Full Gear. He's been prepping for his Mount Everest climb in 2024. So they were out there, and we did have confirmation that there will be an 8-man tag team match at World's End. They're not doing the tag team titles. It's just going to be an 8-man tag team match. It's going to be the tag champs teaming up with Powerhouse Hobbs and Kyle Fletcher of the Don Callis family going up against Sting, Darby Allin, along with Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara. So more filler for the pay-per-view, basically. We had Jon Moxley. Actually, nothing with Jon Moxley yet, so scratch that. We had Roderick Strong backstage with Renee Paquette, and he had this little diagram, everything, all the evidence pointing to MJF, and he's going to prove once and for all that MJF is the devil. Then we had our Blue League final match of the Continental Classic. We had Bryan Danielson versus Eddie Kingston. Very good match here. Long match, feeling out process. They brought on the outside for a while. Bryan was working over Kingston with submissions, started trash talking, and of course that just fired up Eddie Kingston, and Eddie just chopped the hell out of Bryan. And, they did the chop exchange, which we see in every match now. And both guys ended up down. Crowd chanted, "This is awesome." They exchanged some near falls. Bryan hit the running knee. Kingston kicked out. And then Bryan started kicking Kingston's head in. Referee went in to check in on Kingston, potentially stopping the match. But Kingston gave Bryan the middle finger. He was still in it. And then Eddie made a comeback. He hit multiple back fist strikes and then finished off Bryan with the power bomb to punch his ticket in to the Continental Classic final this coming Saturday. And remember, Kingston was the one that decided to put his titles on the line in this tournament for all the glory. After the match, Jon Moxley showed up and he cut a promo. He said that he's always asked for Eddie's best, and Eddie has given it to him. The fans deserve the best. The problem is for Saturday is that Moxley knows Eddie better than anybody. And Eddie is going to have to earn every inch if he has any chance of winning at World's End. Eddie responded by saying that he's actually been in the business longer than Moxley, and said that Moxley's lucky that he allows Moxley to breathe. And he said that the King of the Bums is going to push Moxley to his limit, and he's going to bust up Moxley on Saturday, and he's going to enjoy it. So solid promo here. These guys do have their history. Should be a hell of a match, but I wonder if we got the right picks in here. Like, shouldn't they be putting in guys that they're building up for the future, like a Jay White or a Swerve Strickland, and try to take them to the next level? Jon Moxley doesn't need the win at all, and Eddie Kingston winning is a nice feel-good moment. And we'll talk about predictions Friday night at 8. I have my thoughts on this. Eddie Kingston winning is a feel-good moment, but he's not exactly a young up-and-comer here winning this tournament. We had what was supposed to be a sit-down interview segment between Adam Copeland and Christian Cage, but then Copeland just came in, started fighting with Christian, and you had security coming in. They got beat up, and then you had security coming in, more security, wrestlers, and finally they got them separated. And then very close to the end of the show, we had Chris Statlander versus Sky Blue in a singles match. Pretty basic match here. You had Stokely Hathaway on commentary. I guess he's possibly going to try to recruit somebody. And Sky Blue got in some offense. She hit the code blue, but Statlander kicked out, and then Statlander was perhaps on the verge of winning. And that's when the TBS champion, Julia Hart, showed up. Julia interfered, took a cheap shot while the referee was distracted, and then Sky Blue picked up the win with the code blue. So she's still Sky Blue, even though she dresses in all black now. She should be Sky Black. And after the match, they continued their attack. Willow Nightingale ran down to make the save. And as Sky Blue and Julia Hart were retreating, Abaddon, the challenger for the TBS title this Saturday at World's End, she showed up on the stage and was looking very scary, and that's that. We got that match on Saturday, and at this point, we were at basically 10 o'clock for this Ring of Honor tag team title match, and I mean, you basically know it's an angle at this point. Like, they have the overrun, but you know there's not really going to be a match here. So anyways, Dark Order, or excuse me, oh God, Dark Order. MJF, no. The Devil's Henchmen, whatever the hell you're calling them. They came out first, no music, walked through the crowd. MJF came out, no Samoa Joe, and then we got to a shot in the back. MJF was out there, no Joe. Joe had been attacked, or so we thought. Samoa Joe was grabbing his knees, and then we had MJF going one-on-one. Defiant said that he was going to take on these guys one-on-two, and that's what he did for the Ring of Honor tag team titles. And by the way, Matthew, I did mention the Adam Copeland and Christian backstage brawl. I mean, we did touch on that. I mean, not much to say about it. So anyways, very quick match here. MJF was trying to pull off the mask. Numbers game caught up with him. MJF started to make a comeback, and then we had a third masked guy show up while the referee was distracted, hit MJF with a lead pipe, and then one of the masked men hit MJF with the Heat Seeker, MJF's move, and then went for the cover. The other masked guy grabbed the feet. The feet were on the ropes. Referee didn't see it. 1, 2, 3. New Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, the Devil's Henchmen. And then after the match, a 4-on-1 tag continued. Samoa Joe hobbled down with a steel chair. Then the Devil appeared on the big screen, said it was a pleasure doing business with you. And then Vince Russo Swerve. Samoa Joe hits MJF with the steel chair from behind, yelled at him, "I did this to you," and then took out MJF with the Muscle Buster, and then held up the championship as the show went off the air. I get it. Like, you had to build up Samoa Joe, get him some heat for Saturday, and it's going to be in Long Island, MJF's neck of the woods. I get it. And I suppose MJF and Samoa Joe can be a clean finish, and then you can have the Devil angle. Like, they basically implied that Samoa Joe has been working with the Devil, but Samoa Joe isn't actually the Devil. So Joe is full-blown heel, probably as he should be. The angle was a bit goofy, though. Like TJS said, it feels very much like aces and eights so far. I mean, we'll see what the reveal is. Like, hopefully it's something really good. But yeah, like the fact that I confuse them for the Dark Order, it's not a good sign. So we got a cliffhanger, I suppose. We still got to find out who these people are, but I feel like it's going to be Adam Cole and the Kingdom. Time will tell on that, though. Show was all right. Like, as far as a go-home show is concerned, I don't think it was the best. Like the Continental Classic matches were very good, but mostly the usual stuff that we see out of these guys. And the main event was kind of goofy, but it mildly got me hyped up for the show. I am somewhat intrigued. I give the show a B-. It was solid. Not a home run, though. Like, I feel like on the excitement level, I'm like at a 6 or 7 for World's End. And, a really effective go-home show would get me at like a 9 or 10. So B-, not too bad, but nothing too crazy to write home about, in my opinion. That's the Dynamite recap as we close out 2023. We got the No DQ review. That will be back 8 p.m. Eastern Thursday night. And then Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, we have World's End predictions. And then after World's End, late Saturday, probably early Sunday, I'll be doing my live recap of World's End. All that coming up soon. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the latest. And remember, say yeah to NoDQ.com. Buy a shirt at NoDQ.com/merch. And I will see you all next time.